Good day and welcome to A Place Called Through. I'm your host, Patricia Wade Goings, and we're broadcasting from WYTV7 Community Broadcasters Network. You know, we're all about sharing a mission of hope where we allow real people to tell real stories that impact us all daily. You know, we're always going through from one thing to the other. Life takes its twists and its turns. For some, they're more terrific than others. But today we have with us Mr. Cedric Scott, who has been in an auto accident and he's still going through, but he is a miracle and he is going to share that information with you. And you know, the way we do this is through your support. Continue watching us, sowing those seeds into this ministry so that we can continue with this mission of hope, where our goal is to encourage, inspire, and to help you as you go through to find that place of peace and comfort on these inspirational moments here at WYTV7 Community Broadcasters Network and A Place Called Through. Today, we're honored to welcome with us today again, as we stated, Mr. Cedric Scott. Welcome to A Place Called Through.
Thank you so much. Patricia, thank you so much for having a place called through and having me on the show. Um, I'm just so grateful and blessed. Um, September 15th, 2:30 in the afternoon, driving down Albemarle Road in Charlotte, North Carolina. Driving about 50 to 55 miles an hour on my way to sell a pizzeria. I'm a business broker here in the Charlotte area. I was rear-ended by three young teenagers, the driver 17 and the two passengers 16. The two passengers hit me. The car hit me. I thought it was a truck. If I could describe that feeling, if you imagine the times when you were in bumper cars as kids. Well, I was in the bumper car, but I got hit by a truck is what I expected to see. But when I saw that small blue BMW with the three young teenagers in it, I saw the two passengers leave life in that when they hit me. But the driver was so determined in his eyes and the evil in his face that he hit the gas and kept going. I did see his see what he looked like. We connected there for a moment. But about a mile down the road, they ended up speeding out of control and dying in a major crash at I-45 in Idlewild on September 15th. They hit me at about 2:30 and they were dead about 2:35. So from there, I waited about 2.5 hours for the police officers to come. Once that police officer came, at 2.5 hours, I'm sitting there. I'm actually walking around. I'm at my car. I'm just sitting there waiting patiently. He comes up, apologizes, and then he said, "By any chance, did you get a description of the drivers?" And I said, "Yes." Told him the story of the two passing as they hit me and as they saw me. Then told him I did see the driver. He had dreadlocks, a blue shirt, and some very beautiful teeth. And that was the description they used to identify him. Their bodies were just so destroyed or mangled. I drove back home. I drove back home after that, after talking with the officer, and was sitting in the driveway with my daughter, just laughing and talking with my arms up on the door of the car, just talking over her while she's getting ready to drive off. And I felt my legs and arms just, the feeling just go away, which I knew something was wrong. So I went in the house and then I started feeling my legs just go away, like not feeling them. And it's almost like they went to sleep, but then that feeling vanished and I literally touched them and they weren't there. So when they came back, I immediately got in the car, told my daughter and Michelle that I was on my way. I'm on my way to Huntersville emergency care because I knew if I'd have gone downtown, it had been some time and this was pretty urgent. Sure enough, I got in there, got on the stretcher. Immediately when I described what was going on with me, they brought the beds out, laid me down, and I was fine there, and I could feel everything. But about 30 minutes in, I lost complete feeling from the neck down.
Well, let me just
Um,
stop you right there. We want to go back just a little bit before you tell the whole story, because we noted that you did say that you were a business owner. So talk to us a little bit. What was going on prior to this accident? What your involvement? What was taking place? What was life like?
I'm a business broker. I'm also a licensed mortgage loan originator in all 50 states, Puerto Rico, and Hawaii. Um, and while I'm inactive as a broker, I got a lot of transactions. My primary focus is Trans World Business Advisor, Charlotte downtown. I'm the buy side agent for our office. So I have over 20 years of banking experience. So I was on my way to sell a pizzeria that we have listed for acquisition. We sell many businesses. Over the most recent 12 months, I've closed transactions from $20,000 to $21.5 million. And I'm sector agnostic as to what type of business. So I was on my way to close a business deal that I was literally a couple miles away from being there at that meeting.
Now, that's amazing too. And one of the things that I want to share with our listeners and our viewers is I looked at some stats on teenage driving. And according to the Center for Disease and Control, and when you look it up under transportation safety, you will find this information out as well. They're saying that in 2019, almost 2,400 teens in the United States, aged 13 through 19, were killed, and about 258,000 were treated in emergency departments for injuries suffered in motor vehicle crashes. Therefore, this means that every day about 7 teens died due to motor vehicle crashes, and hundreds of more were injured. Additionally, motor vehicle crashes, deaths among teens ages 15 through 19 years of age resulted in about $4.8 million in medical and work loss for crashes that occurred in 2018. It noted that young drivers between 15 and 20 years old accounted for $6.4 million of, I'm sorry, 6.4%, which equates to 13.3 million of total drivers on the road. 11% of the drivers involved in the fatal crashes, again, were between the ages of 15 and 20. There were noted 3,589 male drivers involved in fatal crashes, and we're talking about teenagers here, as opposed to the 1,558 female drivers. Teenagers, crashes are happening. And they also noted that the young drivers accounted for, alarmingly, 50% of car crashes that were caused by drowsiness, where it is estimated that 1 in 10 of those crashes were caused by drowsy drivers. More than half of those drivers were in the ages of 16 to 24 years old, where they're noting drowsiness is almost as dangerous as drunk driving. And to us, those are alarming because these are our kids. And, they're driving under horrific conditions here, and they're causing horrific situations such as yours. You're a businessman, you're on your way doing your job, and here it comes to you. And so these are the things that we have to be aware of that's happening. The numbers are not decreasing. Unfortunately, they are increasing because there's more and more, early age, I would say, youth driving now. And in your case, they were driving at, as you noted, a very high speed.
Yes, so that's another part of this. So the driver was 17 and the two passengers were 16. I believe that is God speaking to me about teenagers, because there's another, about back March of last year, right before COVID, I was sitting on Bruton Smith Boulevard, sitting in traffic. There was a city bus stopped right there at the Auto Bell off by Thunder Road. There was a lane between me and that bus, and I heard this squeal. My window was down. I was listening to Al Green. I heard this squeal and looked over and saw a young man driving a car looking back to the left as if he was changing lanes. This young man ran into the back of that bus at about 75 miles an hour. And I saw him go into death and back to life. I saw the passenger completely go into death, and then I saw the passenger in the back go into death, back to life, into death, and back to life again. Um, when I got out my vehicle, I walked up to them and I said, "Hey, you've been in a bad accident. The passenger's dead. Calm down." He was saying a bunch of different things. I said, "You're gonna be all right. Just relax." And I told the passenger in the back that you're lucky because the way that car had just slinkied, there was this force that came down that stopped his back from being split by the bus. And I went back to my car. This is God, how God has blessed me. My entire life, people kind of laughed about me having those visions and things, and now I have. It's actually happened to me, and this accident is the first time I've actually had documentation of it all. But back to that. So when I got home that day, there's this pain and grief that comes over me for hours. I mean, there's no way to describe to you the way it feels. Because my prayer is that I ask everyone that meets me, and I ask God every day to give me the pains and hurts and sorrows of the world, so that I can take it on and I can process it and push it away and use it to make me stronger to work for Him. And I pushed away from that for many years. But here in my latter years, this is God. This accident is God hitting me. He threw a car at me and said, "Hey, Cedric, did you remember I gave you this? Hey, Cedric, these teenagers need something to do. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. Where is the rec center? Where is the school system? Where is the politician? Where is the opportunity for these kids to have an educational environment in the middle of a work week? It's not summer. It's not a vacation. There was no reason for those young men not to have an opportunity. So I will be the voice that speaks for that through this accident, and doing what God has put me here to do, which is to speak to that group. I many years ago I was the treasurer for the Economic Development Commission for the 23 Western counties. So any economic development project that went on there, one of those projects that I did was in the Hill Street um, Development Corporation, where um, John, I believe it's John Hayes is his name. John Hayes may have passed on, but he started going into um, low income communities in the Asheville and Western North Carolina through the Department of Recreation. And I was able to get donated computers. So my point is saying that I know where the access to the equipment. There's, the state has so many different things they upgrade and upgrade and upgrade and never use those things. And we have children out here that don't have something to do. There's a rec center that doesn't have computers for people to use. There's no reason for that. In this environment, computers have been around since I don't know what, the 80s? And you're telling me that we don't have an excess of that? I just don't believe that. And I won't believe that because I've seen that.
And so, in light of the fact that, we're lacking in so many areas across the world, for support systems, I would say, to help our teenagers, they are finding other means of recreational things to do. And those numbers are alarming because they're more, I would say, causing more deadly effects than the positives. They are more negative because of the lack of, as you stated, computers, rec centers, things that can help them to develop themselves into more persons, more people that are more responsible for their lives. Whereas they're now, the social thing has really spent out of control. And, when I, again, looking at the stats, it says 31% of fatal teen car accidents are caused by speeding. Teens are more likely than older drivers to speed and allow shorter headways. In 2019, 31% of the male drivers, again, ages 15 through 20, and 17% of the female drivers, they were involved in what? Fatal crashes because of speeding. They're losing control. So, we have to do something to help them, more education to help them understand what real driving and safety driving is about. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back with you, Mr. Scott, to let you continue to talk to us about your journey, your place going through. To our listeners and our viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more inspirational moments here on A Place Called Through. We were broadcasting from WYTV7 Community Broadcasters Network on A Place Called Through. We'll be right back. Welcome back to A Place Called Through. Again, we're broadcasting from WYTV7 Community Broadcasters Network, and I am the host, Patricia Wade Goings. Today, we are sharing a story with Mr. Cedric Scott, who was in a horrific accident. He was hit by some teenagers in a stolen vehicle, and they were driving at such a high speed. And as he stated earlier, when the impact of that accident, it felt like he had been hit by a truck. So we want to continue and talk to Mr. Scott, about those youth driving at such a speed, and causing these major life-sustaining injuries to him. He is still going through, and we want to talk to Mr. Scott about his going through and how he's actually surviving and getting through. Welcome back to A Place Called Through, Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott, you had stated to us earlier, the children, the youth, I would say, that hit you, they passed away because they were driving at such a high speed. Was there anyone else involved in this accident?
No, thank God. I was the only one that was injured. To my knowledge, I was the only one that was injured at that, in the accident to this extent. Um, the driver was 17, um, had had pending stolen vehicle charges against him. Even so, when the car hit me, that blue BMW hit me, which I thought was a truck, the back windshield was knocked out, and I thought in my mind, I was like, there's no way. I was like, wow, that was amazing. But what happened, I mean, they hit so much that the two passengers, they died. They died beside me. In the paper, you'll see it says, two had life-threatening injuries. I saw their death. And then the final one, he died about a month ago. My lawyers called me and told me. I have the police report with their names. The 17-year-old had just turned 17. The 16-year-olds were turning 17 in October and November of this year. So right amongst their birthdays. And so all of this is yeah, it's documented through my attorneys, and I got the information from my attorneys and the private investigator that I personally hired to find out, because I didn't know what happened behind me. That was my biggest thing, because I had this fear, and I still have a little bit. It's happening right now. Just talking about it, there's this fear, and I'm an ex All-American football player, so it's weird that I have that kind of fear because I never had that before, but of not knowing what's coming from behind me. But I finally gotten to a place where I'm in the present accepting that. But I can't mow lawns because of my injury. If I could, I mean, it's my C1 and C2 was at the top of your spine, which the doctor told me, Cedric, you broke your neck. It's going to take years for you to heal. Like it took them time. It took him. He kept slow rolling me into it, and I told him I'm a very positive person anyway. Like I've always been that way. My grandmother raised me. I don't know my father, but my father is God. In my mind, I literally get up and say, I call God Dad. And my dad talks to me every morning, shines the sun on me, and gives me strength to be there for each of you in whatever language, whatever country you're in. I'm just here. And Patricia, this I'm so grateful to be able to tell this story. I was very reserved about telling my story, but God has spoken through me, not in words, just in the power that He's put in me. That I felt when I felt my limbs come back. It was like this power came over me. So I went to surgery, paralyzed. I came out moving. but still depending on other people to take care of me, going to the restroom, taking baths, which I'll have to admit, I did. I have such a funny personality. I had good times with everyone in the office. There were many people that cried when I left, just because I love spreading happiness. I love spreading cheer, because sadness is the easy way. My grandmother always taught me that. She says, stay positive because sadness is too easy. Work on your happiness. And I live that way. And, my kids live that way. I don't over evaluate things. I always make the next right move with God in thought. He's given us, with a vehicle, he's given us all the tools we need, and we think it's money. We think it's a nice house. We think it's a nice car. No, it's not. He said, you're going to get a roof over your head. I don't care what the roof is. It won't leak. And what God does for me is that He's told me, hey, Cedric, you're not perfect. I brought you back from this, but I got something else for you. I'm going to give you a rash on your leg, and I'm going to give you a couple paper cuts. Because he wants you to know, he wants me to know that I ain't perfect. Now, he'll give me and us a couple days of no pains and no ailments, but you're going to have something. You're going to have a rash. I have a cousin of mine that I just learned today has cancer. When I prayed to God today, I literally felt the sun warm me up. Now, it's up to him. He's going to choose that. Our job is to ask. If you don't ever ask, you will never receive. And the blessings are literally flying in front of you every day, to coming to you in so many different directions. I'm an
And that's
ordained
God.
minister
That's who
too.
he is. He is our healer. He is also our comforter, and he gives us that place of peace. So you had mentioned earlier, that we were talking about the family support. So they helped you get to this place because at one point after the accident, you went into this state of depression, a downward spiral for a quick minute, but it was because of your family and the people around you that helped you start pulling away from that place.
Yes. I had never had to completely depend on people to bathe me, to feed me, to it's definitely not something a 45-year-old man is thinking about, right? And it happened in the middle of the week. But if I didn't own my home, if I didn't own a car, like it would have financially ruined me. Like homeless. Um, if if I didn't have everything in place. So, and ask me the question again. This is another thing that I'll have to deal with. When I lose a thought, it's gone. There's no getting it back. So,
No, we just want to talk about the family support because we know
family
that right
support.
after
Right,
the
right.
accident, you had mentioned you had gone into this state of depression somewhat because, as you stated, you were not used to having to depend on other people. So it was because of your family support, the medical team that helped pull you out of that place into now where you are recovering. So go to us now and talk about your recovery process.
Okay, so Atrium Health, man, the team of people at Atrium Health from start to finish, I got zero complaints down from the neurosurgeons to the people that emptied the trash in there. Everyone talked to me, helped me through, and was so helpful moving me through and introduced me to their friends that helped me. But then when I got home, that was good for about 2 weeks. My daughters, they were great. My daughter Nora, who, man, I get such a warm feeling thinking about it. When you think your kids don't love you and care about you, that baby sat in the hospital with her daddy and spoke for me when I couldn't speak for myself. Had already had my paperwork in place. She just turned 18. I'm just so grateful for her. But then, that 2 week, 3 week period, because of my personality, is so energetic. You guys hear me now, right? I don't sound like someone that's in pain because that's not me. God didn't put me down here to do that. He told me to swallow it all for the rest of you. And I'll take that pain. One day and it just gives it to me randomly. And I'll sit there. Man, it happened a couple days ago. But let's go back to so that was those 2, 3 weeks. It just started fading. Less meals, less rides to the store, more pain. Um, there's these weird electrical fire offs, so I'll forget things. I'll literally be watching a show and literally the whole in my mind everything's just moving. There's no sound. The twitches in my muscles, the seizures. I take gabapentin, which is 300 milligrams of gabapentin 3 times a day to stop me from having seizures. I had my first seizure, which is amazing for those of you if you haven't experienced paralysis and seizure. For my seizures are in my mind I'm okay, but my body is elevated to another level. It's almost like looking at yourself, like going through a very violent shaking episode. But that gabapentin is a godsend. I have twitches that happen from time to time that don't allow me to. I can't pick up things. I can't pick up anything larger than a gallon of milk. Um, there's a so I can't mow lawns. I can't trim hedges, and I love chopping wood. I can't do that. I won't be able to do those things for many years down the road because the vibrations could disrupt my equipment, and then the doctors told me that if I injure myself again, that it's either paralysis or death. So, because they can't guarantee again, I'm in God's hand, right? So as long as I just stay out the way, so I've had to hire people to do things for me, to cut my grass,
To do all
wash my
the
clothes,
physical labor part that you would
yeah,
normally have to do.
wash my clothes, fix my meals. I can't just look at a box and pick it up because I don't know how much it weighs or whatever. But my family has been more supportive of that now. I know we're running out of time here, but I wanted to just emphasize support your family members when they go through these things. I'm available at Transworld Business Advisors, Charlotte downtown. We're at 101 North Tryon. Right in the heart of the city. Greg Barnes is the CEO. Renee Barnes, his wife, we partnered there. You want to talk about people that understand how to sell businesses and buy businesses? If you're thinking about buying them, got any questions about homing, housing, finance, you call us at no cost. 704-606-1899 is my direct line. 704-606-1899. You call me, except on Sundays. I don't do anything on Sunday. You'll get my voicemail and the emails pile up. But Patricia, I'm just so grateful for you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to get this off my chest. I went through a lot of emotions in this in this interview. Um, and just my positivity. I hope your listeners hear it. I hope they spread it. I hope they live it because it's not hard to be positive. I've been practicing this for about 15 years now. You're going to have about 4 or 5 days of sadness that comes, but you're going to get through it no matter what comes your way. If you take God's hand, just take his hand. And because we are not in charge. We are not in charge. He is driving the car. He built the car, and he has allowed us to sit in the passenger seat. All you got to do is open the door. It don't even have a handle on it. It literally just opens when you pull it.
And that's it. Keep holding on to his name. Keep that faith right where it is. Continue to heal and know that God is able to do all things if you trust and believe in him as you are a living example. Don't forget, hold on to him. We're sorry that we are out of time. We've enjoyed hearing your story of how you're going through. But to our listeners and our viewers, I want you to know that we're getting ready for our Giving Tuesday, which happens on November the 30th. So sow those seeds into this ministry so that we continue to hear stories as Mr. Cedric Scott has provided with us today so that we can help inspire and encourage others. I am your host, Patricia Wade Goings, at a place called Through, where we do broadcast from the WYTV7 Community Broadcasters Network. I am also an evangelist. I am a life coach. So if you want to talk to me, reach out to me in area code of 843-608-9744. Be sure to visit my website at www.willpower, the call to rise above. And if you like stories like this and you've got a story that you want to share, hey, send me that email at pgoingswp@gmail.com. Stay tuned for more stories coming up for Thanksgiving. We're going to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Don't forget, sow those seeds for Giving Tuesday, November the 30th. Keep those seeds going on. God bless you. Much love to you. Again, Patricia Wade Goings, broadcasting from a place called Through.
That's awesome.